do here is go back.
And hopefully we are live. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. Before we get too far into this, can you actually hear me and or see me? Please let me know, that would be fantastic. My shirt's all pissed, doesn't it? Stretched as well. Whatever. Yes. Oh, blimey. PayPal's in already. Who is that from? £20 gift super chat already from Nick Barnes. Mike and Kath for the brick fund and extra string from Nick and Joe. Thank you very much, Nick and Joe. For those of you not sure what that is about, this week I've been working out in the garden. I've been promising Kath that I'd do a brick border edge in the garden for many years now. And this week finally managed to get out there and do some, trying to, primarily to try and regain some fitness, excuse me, gain some fitness by doing some light gardening work, which turned into kind of construction work almost. But yeah, it was quite enjoyable. And if you want to see pictures of how it went, head over to our Discord, it's in the general chat. And yeah, you can see how it all went with supervision from both Kath and the cats. So yeah, thank you very much. Much appreciated, Nick and Joe. I should say, sorry. Nice to see some of you in the chat as well. Oh yeah, Molly and Luna as well. Mike the bricklayer. Yeah, not too far off it. Not too far off it. Yeah, just seeing what's going on. It's been an absolutely lovely couple of days here in the United Kingdom. Strangely, it's very strange when you go outside and it's like, it's too hot. I need to go inside. Burnt the back of my neck, stupidly, as you do. Yeah, is what it is. But hopefully you can all see me and or hear me. Yeah, this week has been a weird one. We started off at like very low temperatures in the kind of the low, well, under 10 degrees at times. We actually had the wood burner lit a couple of days just to take the chill off the house. It's been mad. And then the last 2 days have been like 22 degrees or something. It's been very, very warm, very, very nice. But it's nice to get outside and get some fresh air. Get some sunshine, get back in touch with nature. Yes, most enjoyable. But anyway, it's David Unders's garden. It is small. My veggie patch is larger than your whole garden. I know.
Large for you guys.
For the UK, our garden's actually quite large. I think it's 66 foot long, the garden, which isn't a lot, is it, really? But in terms from what you get from like modern build houses these days, it's probably double the size of a new build house, which is nuts. But yeah, I know back in the day people used to have much bigger gardens here in the UK, but as with everything, it all costs money. So, and also we're a pretty small island. Obviously Australia is a bigger island, somewhat of a continent, and yeah, there's a lot more room to breathe. Hello Nicholas Barlow, how you doing? Just hello from the USA. And good evening and welcome to all of you. Hello Welly Bob. Hello to Mark Berry. Hello to... I should start from the top, shouldn't I, really? It's despicable of me. Hey to O'Reilly. O'Reilly said, Mike said a bad word on the last live stream. Wonder if he will tonight. I can't remember. What bad word did I say last time? Can't remember.
Reggie said your shirt's all pissed.
Oh yeah, it's true, yeah. Hey KP, hey David Underhill, who else have we got? Senrab, we've said, Sky Stalker, Viali, how you doing Viali? Mark Berry, who said, Welly Bob, how you doing Welly Bob? Hopefully you're feeling better. Pete Unwin, How you doing, Pete? Good to see you in the chat. Who else we got? Charles Ballard. How you doing, Charles? Good to see you. And Roderick as well. John David Sullivan, we said. He says, yeah, prefer the old music. Yeah, I put the old music back on. It's a weird one. It's very Marmite, the other music, the K-pop type stuff. People either love it or hate it. Whereas the other music, people were kind of like, it's okay. I can bear with it. So we'll go with that. Who else we got with us? JJ UK, how you doing, JJ? Rusher, how you doing, Rusher? Good to see you. Glorious sunshine here in Ireland the last few days. Very good to hear it. And there's Mark Gaines, good. He says, all good, Mike. Thank you very much. Sound and video are good. Excellent. Lovely jubbly. Dutch Jan's with us. How you doing, Dutch Jan? Phil Stodd, Matthew Day. How you doing, Matthew Day? Kath just did a thing. I must have missed something.
Oh, I thought it was Mark Games. I thought you said it.
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't say it, no. Mark Gaines, there you go. He's been a member for 13 months. Thank you very much. Says, hello, Mike and Kath. Time flies when you're having fun. Sky says, I said the F-bomb last word. Oh, the F word with a donation. Oh, yeah, I remember now, yeah. I said the F word a few times, I think. But also for the donation. Doman 2000, hello from the Netherlands. How you doing in the Netherlands? And Eduardo Franco, hello Mike, greetings from Brazil. Hello Brazil, how are you? Model Citizen says AI song is awful, to be honest. Or to be fair. Okay, I'll go with that. Ah, dear. There you go. Right, that's caught us up to date. Okay, so everything seems to be working. Let's check the overhead. Yeah, that seems to be working. Excellent stuff. Stream desktop. Yes, that appears to be working also. Great stuff. I can live with that. Oh, actually, I did need to zoom in on the overhead. Although I don't think I'm going to need it. So, tonight's stream, bit of a double-barreled kind of thing. Well, triple-barreled probably. So, first of all, we'll be taking a look at the new hidden fix, which is in the latest Nvidia driver. So, if you are someone who plays video games and you get annoyed with the stuttering when starting a game, it's one of those things with most computers, if you've got a stutter, which is driver-based, it tends to kind of show itself at the beginning of the game, or if you've only played it for, I don't know, maybe half an hour or so. And the reason behind it is because what is happening in the background whilst you're playing your favorite games, the Nvidia driver is actually compiling the shader or the shader cache in the background. So for every game, that is why we have drivers. So the driver tells the graphics card how to handle or how to basically recode the game for your specific system. And the shaders is a big part of that. And it's got pretty big overhead on both the CPU and also the GPU. So quite often when you start a game for the first time, especially things like Fortnite, which seem to be hitting the CPU even harder, is you'll hear your fans ramp up quite often, depending on your settings, but you may see that. So the new driver has a fix for it, which we'll be taking a look at very shortly. And Kath's got her fingers doing something. She's picking her teeth, but she might be trying to say something as well. I'm not sure.
Dutch Jan says, Mike, what have you done to your wrist? So it's a bit off topic. But...
Oh, what have I done to wrist? I damaged it ages ago, and I've got this reoccurring thing where on the wrist it's just keep on getting pain in it, and it was about probably is nearly 2 years ago, and I was doing something. Actually, no, it happened twice. I was bending some copper pipes in our loft. I was trying to clear out some space in the loft because we got a lot of stuff going up there, and so I thought, well, let's try and tidy up some things. And when we moved in originally, there was an old like water container for central heating, like an overflow container thing. And when they decommissioned that and put in our new central heating, they left most of that up there because there was no way of getting out because we only had a very small loft hatch at the beginning. Since then, we've had a bigger loft hatch and stair access put into the loft, so it's a bit easier to get up and down there. So I was thinking to myself, right, I need to get rid of some of this shit. Sorry for the bad language. I need to get rid of some of this crap. It was mostly copper fittings, brass and copper fittings, like ball cock valves, just piping in general, quite a lot of it. but it was still quite long lengths, as it tends to be, because you do get straight long lengths running kind of the length of the house, whatever. So I cut down quite a few of them, and I got to the point where I thought, well, bollocks to this, I'm just going to break it by hand. So I would grab the copper bars and just kind of bend them over my knee and do that and fold it until you get like a fracture in the copper. And I was making them into like lengths of about a foot, so I could put them in this little basket I had and just leave it at the front of the house for someone to take away. So I did that. It took me about an hour or so to do that. And after I did it, I was like, God, my wrist hurts. I've probably overdone it a bit because I've not. It's a strange motion, isn't it? Bending metal and the kind of pushing it down over my knee to bend it to get the original bend. So yeah, probably damaged something in my wrist, and it was playing up for quite a while. It got better. And then I was trying to do something at Motor Parts. I was trying to fit someone's light bulb, and trying to fit light bulbs in most modern cars is an absolute pain in the ass. You have to be like a contortionist to get your hands in to get stuff out. So yeah, it felt like a sort of introductory course in gynecology. It was really, really traumatic. So there's this one car, I got the bulb out, but just really struggling to get it back in. I ripped off all the skin off my knuckles, etc. And so yeah, eventually I kind of forced my wrist into the position, and at the time when I did it, it felt very uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And yeah, it got worse. And over, I would say, since probably when it started getting colder last year, so late 2025, it just every now and then it used to play up, and I put on my wrist support and it would be fine. After a week or so, it would come back and be more painful. So I thought to myself, right, it's been getting painful recently whilst I've been trying to do stuff, and I was out in the garden doing things with bricks and what have you. So I thought, right, I'll just put my wrist support on, and hopefully if I keep it supported for a little while, it will be better. So I'm trying to wear it more. So if it does look weird on camera, I do apologise, but my health and the longevity of my limbs is way more important than what you think it looks like. So yeah, it is what it is. I might get a matching one on the other side, so it looks kind of like an 80s dance thing going on.
Some leg warmers.
Get some leg warmers and some jeggings or something. But anyway, so that's the story. Yeah, basically damaged my wrist. It was quite swollen, and it never really seems to properly heal. I probably just need to rest it like for a long time, or do some kind of physiotherapy to make it better. It's actually all right at the moment. It feels pretty good, but yeah, sometimes it can be really awful. I thought it was down to my phone, because holding my phone, I am left-handed, so I do that, I hold it in my right hand. And I thought it was because my phone is bigger and heavier than it was previously. So it feels like I'm straining my hand. So it could be just an RSI type injury from holding a heavy phone, which I fucking hate this phone. I really do. I love it, but I fucking hate it at the same time. I really regret getting the Plus version of this phone. I should have just got the normal 16.
You can't read that one.
I know. I only got it bigger because my eyesight. I wanted a bigger phone, but yeah. Anyway, it's very heavy, and with the bulky case as well, it doesn't make it any better. That is the rant over and done with. So that is that question answered, hopefully.
Dan said it doesn't look weird. I just wondered what was wrong.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. Hello to Nero. How you doing? Good to see you. And Dan Gunhar. How you doing? Love this channel. Everything is explained so clear. I try to. I do try to. Model Citizen says, I'm so tempted to make wrist jokes. Feel free. They're all welcome here. We don't really have a cap on or censorship here, so just say what you like. It's fine. Riley says, I like Mike saying bad words, lol. I will try to carry on continuing in that form. Hey, Nero. Good to see you. Let's have a look through. Viali says you should have got a decent phone, not eye crap. To be fair, the phone itself is fine, and they work really, really well. It's just it's really heavy and bulky and thick.
So why haven't I got a thick wrist from it? Just saying.
Yeah, maybe mine's just on a funnier angle.
Retaliation, conflict.
Whatever. Anyway, so hopefully my wrist will be better soon. Will be good. Rasher says 69 watching, giggles. Sky says Mike is left-handed, his right hand won't slow him down. No, it's fine. It's my right hand is, yeah. I use it for typing and things like that. It's fine. It's fine. It's just annoying. And also I've had the bad shoulder as well, because I've got like a trapped nerve or whatever it is going on in my shoulder. So it's all, this arm is just annoying me at the moment. But it's better. The nerve is actually much better. It was getting to the point where it was waking me in the night where it's with the pain. But now once I get sort of comfortable, I can sleep through the night. So sleeping is always good, generally.
Not when you're on my side with all my duvet covers.
Yeah. We got this weird thing. Let me know in the chat. This is going out to couples. Whether it's male, female, 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 male, male, whatever. I don't care. I'm not here to judge. Just answer the damn questions. Do you like the bedroom to be warm at night? Now, I generally tend to sleep just in my pants, which is a thing. Sometimes socks as well if I'm feeling exotic. But I do like to have the room warm, or warm-ish. So if the covers do come off, it doesn't feel like you're in the Arctic. So otherwise, I end up wrapping the quilt all around me to try and keep myself warm. Kath doesn't like the bedroom being warm. She likes it being cold.
But it's optimal for sleeping is a cooler bedroom.
Don't care. This is a thing. So Kath likes it cold. I like it warmer. So yeah, it's an odd situation. So she moves because I take all the quilt covers, but I'm trying to help her keep cool. It's probably not very comfortable. But yeah, it's one of those things that you have to put up with if you're a couple. So let me know in the chat, do you go through the same things? Or maybe if you're just single, do you actually like it to be warm or cold in your room?
Mostly cold so far. I haven't seen it hot yet.
Red says cold room better. I guess it also depends on where you live. Now, if you live in a predominantly warm environment...
You're changing the rules.
Well, no, it is down to it. If you live in a predominantly warm environment, then having a cooler bedroom actually makes sense, doesn't it? Because it's been like roasting all day, so you actually quite like the cool in the evening. Whereas here in the UK, where it's generally quite cool, or cold even, it's actually quite nice to have a warmer room, because otherwise you're just freezing all the time, which is not good. So, I don't know. Should start a poll for who goes to bed starkers, lol. Oh dear.
I used to, and then I'll scatter a fire.
Yeah.
And the neighbours will just be
Horrified?
terrified. You know?
Tony Crom.
Dan Gunhar.
Dan Gunhar. Where? What time?
8:35.
8:35. I can't see that. Dan Gunhar. Viali says, Mike, I've been to the doctor's today about my shoulder, booked in for an x-ray, got a problem in the joint. Yours sounds very similar. Yeah, it went away before. I think it is purely due to my lack of mobility, that I don't do a great deal and I sit in a really stupid position when I'm on the computer. I've actually started recently raising up the arms, the armrests, because that's what they're for, resting your arms on. Because I'm thinking, my shoulder, this side, feels like it's lower than the other side. And I think it's where I'd lean on the armrest, but it's a little bit lower. So it needs to be higher to support it. But anyway, whatever. There'll be some exercise. Dutch Jan says, go to a chiropractor. I got you. David John Sullivan says, pants as in the underwear for Americans. Yeah. KP says, I fantasize about sleeping in an igloo. Come to the UK. You can do that every day.
Did you answer that question I told you?
Zero Defects. Hello. Oh no, I was about to read it out.
Just wondered.
Dan Gunhar says, can someone explain why my 9070X 9070 XT looks so much more crisp and clear and stable frame rate than my last 265K 5070 Ti on the same 1440p OLED maxed out setting in games? Well, the 265K isn't particularly well known for being, well, for its gaming prowess. It's good, but it's not great. The 9070X is probably similar on par. The 9070 XT is It depends on the games, and it depends on the drivers. Like, it could have been just that on your Nvidia setup, the drivers, there's something about them that just needed tweaking. It could be the overhead. Intel are somewhat known for an overhead, and Nvidia cards have got a driver overhead as well. So it could have been something along those lines. The 9070 XT is very good at rasterization. So it could be that just the graphics card is more powerful. Yeah, it's a difficult one. There's no real kind of obvious answer to that question, to be completely honest with you. Being that you changed essentially the entire platform, it's hard to say one or the other. I would have been tempted to try the 9700X with the 5070. I'm actually using a 9070 XT and the 265K, and I find it to be really good.
Nero?
What time?
Not that long ago. Underneath the one you just done, but...
All right. Nero. Sorry, I'm looking through the chat here. Nero. Question, Mike. I'm thinking about getting a UPS to protect my PC in case the power goes out. Do you have any you would recommend? The Amazon ones are quite good. So if you get the Amazon's own brand, they're actually made by UPC, I believe, or one of the other kind of well-known brands, which are really good. I've been very happy with mine. It lasted on the original battery for, I think, 6 or 7 years. I actually did a video on it relatively recently on how to go about changing the battery out. The only thing I would suggest is, well, depending on how you want to use it, try to aim for one that actually has some form of USB connectivity, so you can actually monitor what it's doing. That, for some people, is like extremely beneficial. I've got mine connected to my NAS, so it sends a USB signal to my NAS if it goes onto battery to essentially just to shut down safely, because obviously a NAS uses a RAID array, and RAID arrays, when they crash, they're not happy generally, so I try to avoid that. But yeah, if it's just for a desktop PC, you maybe don't need the USB thing, but it's nice to have. And oh fuck, here we go again. Mark Gaines sent £50. Thank you very much, Mark Gaines. And he's got a note there saying a little support for the channel. A little? That's huge. Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated. I will even give you a prayer signal, even though it hurts my wrist to do so. Thank you so much. I'm not a wuss. She didn't say that when I was out there busting my balls trying to do the bloody garden edge and breaking my back with all, like, this is how it happened. I ordered the bricks. So these are engineering bricks, but the old-fashioned ones, the solid ones. Each brick is 2.5 kilos in weight. I ordered 150 of them. I had to take them off the truck into the front garden, then from the front garden into the back garden. I couldn't carry more than 5 or 4 at a time. So that was at least 30 plus journeys from the front of the house to the back of the house with essentially 10 kilos or more of bricks in my hands with a bad wrist. Then taking them out into the garden, then stacking them all along the garden, 150 bricks individually, stack them all up and down the garden in the heat, and then put them in the ground. I think I'm entitled to whinge.
You can win. You've done well.
Thank you.
Good job.
Zero Defects says, quilt on, but one leg out if it's hot. See, I was always very keen on the one leg or even both legs out of the quilt, if possible, when it's warmer. But I've got paranoia. And also I've got cats. And if you leave your toes or legs outside of the quilt,
They never attack.
there's a potential they will. They haven't ever so far.
Not these.
But the potential...
Our old ones did.
Our old cats did, and they were mad for it. And I don't want to get them in that habit, so I keep my legs and my toes. Yeah, I'm scared.
I always have mine out because it's so hot.
Semrab, sleep in a warm, thick dressing gown under a duvet. Yep, I'm old. Lol. Room needs to be 19-20 degrees. Too hot, can't open windows as cats jump out. Good, yeah. You sound like that's along my kind of line. Yeah, 19 to 20 degrees and in a nice warm dressing gown under the duvet. Happy days. Tony says, try regular saunas to ease your trapped nerve. Regarding bedroom, the answer is simple. Sleep naked and cuddle calf for warmth. Aww. I do that anyway. But then she gets upset because I'm sweating all over her.
God, last night I was like,
Oh dear.
you had that duvet all wrapped around you, so I can't even get the duvet because it's all wrapped around him like I was even like a Swiss roll. You are.
Mm.
So I can't even get any duvet back because you've got it so clamped onto you.
I know.
And it's just like the heat coming out of that duvet, and your head is just like wet. I swear. It's like, how can that even be comfortable?
Anyway, moving on. Jan says, Mike, buy a wheelbarrow. Yeah, but where am I going to put the wheelbarrow after? If I buy a wheelbarrow, it's going to take up like almost 1% of my garden.
No, you wouldn't let me have a thing I like a wheelbarrow or greenhouse.
Sky says, lol, sweaty Mike, thanks for the visual. Now that's the thing, see, if you're a person who is not follically challenged like myself, and you have a head of hair, it actually acts as some kind of insulation. You know, like when it's hot, if you have skin against skin, you sweat. So when I'm asleep and I'm like that, my head sweats against my arm. Whereas if I had locks,
Well, you need to get a little sleep cap.
I might get a sleep cap, that'll do it.
Wee Willy Winkle.
Anyway, let's move on, and we will discuss how to fix your Nvidia driver woes. First of all, Damn Gunhar says, hey Mike, what do you think of the new Asus Neo boards and new BIOS layout? To be honest with you, I've not seen them, so I cannot answer the question. I didn't realise they were actually a thing. I have no idea. Let's have a look at the Nvidia driver. So I'm going to minimize this window, and I'm going to minimize that window, and I'm going to right click and open the Nvidia app, which is probably going to open over there because of course it will. So if you wish to follow along, which I'm sure you will do, I'm going to put it onto the stream. I don't. Right, for those of you who are trying to fix your...
Just one last little thing.
Hang on, Kath's from pitching. Yeah.
There's no wind, there's no window open or nothing. It's
There's no window, no.
It's just a normal temperature of the house.
House temperature, yes. Anyway, so here is the Nvidia app. So if you're having problems with your graphics, or your basically your games are stuttering and you're finding it very upsetting, you don't like it, there is an easy way to do it. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is head over to the sorry, I had some nugget earlier, it's killing me now. Blimey, there's more PayPals coming in.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, Kath's rubbish. Hang on.
I'm coming. My
Let's
legs
go
are
back.
stuck together.
Go back to the main camera in a minute. This is important.
Oh, I've done it now.
Oh dear. Thank you very much, Arali. Massive thank you to you. Arali has also sent us £50. Wow. Amazing. Says little support for the channel from Arali, the friendly AI. He is the friendliest AI. God bless you. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. We do not deserve Patreons such as yourselves. Not patrons, but no, people that patronize? No. You know what I mean. Thank you, anyway. Let's go back to the Stream Desktop. Right. So, go to the Nvidia app, go to the driver section, and make sure it says up to date here. If not, click on that button there, and it will check for updates. Now, this works with the Game Ready driver or the Studio driver. Either one is fine, but ideally the Game Ready driver if you are gaming on your computer. Once you've done that, you can then go into the Settings tab, which is just here. And then you're going to want to go over to the About tab. And from the About tab, scroll down just a little bit until you see the section here called Early Access. And it says, be first to see what's next for Nvidia app, an update may be required. So what you want to do is put a tick into this bit here. So opt in to access the beta or experimental features. So just put your tick box there. Once you've done that, you should find if you go back into the graphics tab, you may need to restart, like close the app and reopen it. But if you go over to the graphics tab, and then you've got your list of all your games, etc. Not a very big list on this one because this is my streaming PC. But if you go to global settings, just up here, and scroll down until you see a section here called shader cache. So if you look at your shader cache settings, which are here, click on that and you've got options. So first of all, you can set up your cache size. Now I would probably suggest leaving that as the driver default. So that's just going to store the cache on your system.
Oh, can you hide the Tony comment because they can't see the screen?
Sorry.
Why is it coming up at the top now?
It's gone. Ah, yes. I moved it on that screen. So, yeah, sorry. Hopefully you can see that. So, global settings. Actually, let me go back. Cancel. Cancel. So, yeah. From home, just go into settings, go into about, and turn that on. Opt in to the beta or experimental features. Then what you're going to want to do is head over to graphics, and then go to global settings, and then go down to the section here called shader cache. And here yours will probably be set to off, which is the default, and also the driver default for the cache size. Now, if you want to make the cache unlimited, that will also help. But depending on how much space you've got on your drives, etc., you may want to set it to the driver default, which is the bottom one there. So the default driver, just allocate whatever size it needs. The otherwise unlimited, you can do whatever. Anyway, you get the general idea. So the key part of this is automatic shader compilation. So this is currently in beta, but it should work. It says it works for DirectX 12, but I believe it also does DirectX 11 as well. So you should be fine for either. I'm waiting for them to update that. But this is the bit, automatic shader compilation. So it automatically rebuilds the DirectX shaders while your system is idle, reducing the frequency of game runtime compilation after driver updates. So that's essentially what happens. If you get a game which is stuttering, if there's been like quite recent driver updates, like at one point there was like one a week. So every time there's a driver update, your system has to recompile those driver and shaders, which takes up a lot of time and can take anything up to kind of half an hour or to an hour's worth of gaming, depending on the game and the shaders which it actually has to cache and then compile. So the default setting for everybody is going to be off, but turn it on. And then you've also got options for system utilization. So this is basically how much stress it's going to put this on your computer. So you've got the option for low. So if you've got a pretty weak system, set it to low. If you've got a reasonable system, or you're not sure, leave it to default. Or if you want to try and get it done better, and you've got a multi-core system with loads of RAM, etc., then you can set it to high. Now, I would suggest doing it to medium and see how you get on with that. This should improve your system considerably.
So, does that answer Skystalker's question and Orali's?
Let's have a look. How does this technology work? Right, Sky says, how does this work? So, basically, rather than waiting for a game to actually load, so the way your driver works currently is it waits for a game exe to load. So say Fortnite exe, it waits for that and then it starts compiling the shaders on startup. Now that is obviously going to be affecting your system, and also your game's trying to load. It's one of the most stressful things you can do on a computer, like game startup and games in general. So if you can actually make the kind of the hard work get done earlier, then it makes the game feel smoother. So this is essentially rebuilding the cache and updating the shaders and recompiling them in the background when you're just browsing the web or answering emails or whatever it needs to be. And it doesn't take a great deal of time anyway, So it isn't like it's taking up a load of resources in the background. But yeah, this is a good thing, I believe. And also what you can do in this section, if you're having problems with your system in general and you're finding it stuttery, you can click on these 3 dots at the top here and you can actually clear all of the cache. So all of the shader cache for all of the games on your system, you can clear it in one fell swoop. Now, if you're someone who installs lots of games, then uninstalls a lot of games, then you might want to clear the cache anyway, because of the amount of physical space it can take up on your system. But that is entirely up to you. You can try that. So if you click on clear cache, you get the option, it will completely delete the majority of files in the Nvidia cache. This forces the driver to rebuild the shader cache online, which can help to fix caching issues. So I would probably suggest doing that anyway, just to start with a clean slate. But again, that's entirely up to you. Also, you can, from this section here, you also can tell it to compile now. So if you don't want to wait, you just want it to compile, you can click on this. So if you click on compile now, it says there at the top, shaders compiled. So because I've got very few games on there and most of them are probably compiled anyway, it does it very quickly. But normally that would happen when you actually go into a game. So yeah, it's good. ZGDX Smiling says, this is old information. Well, being that it only came out in the driver, which has been released on the 16th of April, that's only 10 days. I don't class that as old news. Yes, it's a week old, but a week isn't a lot. And being it only came out in this driver, yeah, I'm not too sure where you're coming from.
And you've got a question at 8:59, John David Sullivan.
8:59.
And a lot of saying it takes a lot.
I haven't, mine only goes out to 8:55 because that's the time now. 8:49, do you mean?
That must be. Yeah.
Who is it? Who is it? Sorry?
No, 8:53.
8:53.
That's so wrong.
John Dave Sullivan, was it?
Mm-hmm.
How much detotated RAM do I need for a server? Yeah, I'm not too sure what that even means. Riley says, yeah, shader cache is annoying on game startup. Yeah, it totally is. There.
And then at 8:46, Cutie Pie, but it's off topic.
Okay. KP says, yeah, many games you need to clear shader cache for it to run. Exactly. David Thompson says, when Stalker 2 was released, it rebuilt the shader cache every time you launched the game. It was painful, often took 10 to 20 minutes. That's horrendous. Model Citizen said one of his...
It's a meme.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, some things get removed. I don't know. Doesn't say anything on the screen, but anyway. What was the other one you said?
8:46. Cutie Honey.
Cutie Honey. Let's go back to the main camera because I think we're done on that other section now. Hopefully everyone understands that. Cutie Honey, question. When I tried the 5070 Ti and 9070 XT with the 11700F, why the CPU utilization is more with the 9070 XT with a large margin Intel game crash, but with 5070 Ti I can play the game. Same game and DDU done. I don't know. That's a strange one. I'm trying to get my head around it. So the CPU utilization is more with the well, the CPU utilization could be, actually I don't know, because the 5070 Ti should be arguably the more powerful card than the 9070 XT, I think. Or are they very similar? I think the 5070 Ti has a slight edge in the majority of titles. So CPU utilization may be more. Until the game crashes. Yeah, I don't really understand why that would be. It doesn't make sense. but the 5070 Ti can play the game. I think a lot of the time when we're comparing graphics cards and performance between them, it's a really hard thing to do, because unless you're someone who specifically goes into every single game setting and verifies that they are identical, it's really hard to test like for like, even with presets, because a game preset in some games will not be the same for both manufacturers, or all three manufacturers if you include Intel. They will basically tweak the presets to suit the card and the hardware on the card, which isn't ideal, but it is something. And of course, when you've got things like frame generation, DLSS, FSR, all those other kind of scaling features as well, you never really quite know if you're testing like with like. Like back in the day, it was really good because you basically had native resolutions and everything, and most games were basically low, medium, or high, and that was kind of it. It was a lot easier to test back then, so I don't know. The 11700F should do quite well with those cards. So yeah, I honestly have no idea. I'd have to look into that to see why it would be doing that. Yeah, I can't think of any, because the thing is, it should be the opposite way around, because traditionally the Nvidia drivers have got a slightly more driver overhead than the AMD one, or at least they did. So in theory, what you were seeing should be reversed, but it's not. So I don't know. Very strange. Anyway, moving on. ZGDX Mike, I still have stuttering in game. Should I just keep clearing cache and having it rebuild again? Stuttering doesn't only come from the caching. Stuttering can come from all kinds of places, especially with online games. Those are the worst, because online games, you're not only are you sending and receiving data across a network, which is inherently unstable, you're also relying on your system to try and play catch up with it as well. And if you're playing at extremely high frame rates, that makes it even harder, because depending on how quickly the server can respond to the frames of data you are creating, it's just a minefield. It really is a minefield. So stuttering, like to start with, obviously doing the fix we've just gone through, that's a really good idea, just so that you know you're at the right level to start with. Rebuild the cache, let it recompile it, all that kind of stuff. Then you can go through and check on everything. So if you're still getting stuttering in games, your best thing to do is to open up something like Task Manager on a separate screen, or run some form of logging, so you can look at it and see what is the subsystem of your computer which is having the effect or the stuttering. Because obviously stuttering can come from many things. So it can come from your CPU not being able to keep up with the GPU. It could be from your GPU not being able to keep up with the CPU. It could be you're running out of RAM. It could be you're writing lots of information to your drives. Maybe your game drive is on a slower drive and that's the bottleneck. It could be your network, especially if you're on Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi can change dramatically in a matter of seconds from good to bad. And also, another thing you can do is you can try turning on VSync. That is one of the things I always try to do. If I'm ever having problems with my system or I'm getting stuttering, the first thing I do, turn on VSync or cap my frame rate to something quite low, like 60 FPS or something. Because if it doesn't happen at lower frame rates, then you can kind of work out what is going on, because obviously there's less overhead on the system. And then you can look at your other logs again and see where the bottlenecks appear to be coming from, which one of your subsystems. Because there's loads of them. There isn't really a definitive answer. Again, if you're playing at very, very high frame rates, that's a really easy way of getting stutter. Even if you've got the most expensive CPU, the most expensive GPU, the best broadband and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't always help, because you're relying on your connection to the internet. Just the whole thing has to gel together. It's like a misfire in a car. Like, you can have an amazing car, but if there's one part of the ignition system which is just slightly off, it's not going to run as it should do. And that is what we tried to investigate on the Discord sometimes.
It's like Mike in a hot bed.
Like me in a hot bed.
Not running at optical.
That's right. Okay. Let's have a look.
GT 851?
851?
859.
859. GT, what's the trick? We just showed it. This is a live stream, so you can rewind a little bit. Rewind to about,
Can't tell the time.
I don't know,
actually.
8...
Still can't tell the time, so you'd have to work out minutes.
8:50. So about 20 minutes ago. Should be alright. Yeah, go about 20 minutes back. You should be okay. CMCB says Nvidia GPUs use more CPU than AMD cards. They certainly did. I don't know whether if that is still the case. I haven't seen anyone do any updated figures on that recently. But yeah, it should be. Hello people of Earth. I took a nap and apparently so did my alarm clock. Oh,
Anyone
no.
else remember when Apple did that?
Yeah, Apple did that, didn't they? I remember that.
On purpose, they didn't change the hour.
Alexa says I have no stuttering issues as I had the good sense to buy an AMD GPU. Lol. That's it. Fan the flames. Fan the flames. Paul Lamont says, VG Sync, not the sink. No, don't throw the sink at it. So have a look through the chat here. I've got a sneaking suspicion my tab is going to crash any second. I can hear my CPU fans ramping up. That either means that I've got too much data in my tab, or I know what it is. It's the background shader compilation, probably. Excellent stuff. Viali says I always keep my frame rate to the max FreeSync of my monitor. To be honest with you, I tend to for most games. Like my monitor is only 165 Hertz, which is probably enough, to be honest with you. Like 144 to 180-ish, you don't really notice the difference. And I think even going to 240, it's that obvious that you've got 240 frames. Yeah, I think VSync is one way of doing it. It depends on the game as well. Like a lot of people are advocates of frame capping. So cap your frame rate to like 1 or 2 FPS less than your monitor's max response to refresh rate. That seems to be the preferable way of doing it. And it seems to be less stuttery. So that's something you can also try as well. Go into your driver and just set a frame cap, a hard cap for a global setting. So like for mine 165 Hertz, I would set it to like maybe 162. So it's just underneath the top level. Still, 160 frames per second, if it can do it, that's great. And also, it saves you energy, saves your GPU creating unnecessary frames that your monitor cannot use and you cannot see. So yeah, frame capping I like. Hello Des, how you doing? Des says the worst game for stuttering is Borderlands 4 and you cannot fix it. Yeah, to be fair, there are some games which are just so poorly coded or so poorly optimized that they just stutter like crap. Like some games, like Fortnite is a really typical one. Fortnite, especially when you're doing the jump from the bus, I don't think I've ever seen a single system where it hasn't tanked the frame rate at some point or other. I think that's just a universal thing, that it's accepted, and kind of from the jump from the bus pretty much down to the landing and maybe the first kind of 30 seconds of gameplay is a stuttery mess for pretty much everyone. And I think there's 100 players technically, and you imagine what the server has to do with that massive map, which is pretty massive to be fair, and also to synchronize everybody's frame rates and tick times so that there's not like rubber banding all around the map. It must be a really stressful thing to do, and I'm sure they offload a lot of that to our CPUs and GPUs, because like, why would they spend money on servers doing that stuff when they can have the game do it in the engine? Like, Unreal Engine has always been known for being kind of stuttery mess, really. ZGDX says, I'm on Fortnite now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I see no stuttering when I jump out of the bus. I play it on a cloud gaming application.
Okay, that might be why. Normally, if you look at your frame rate counter, if you've got the frame rate counter turned on, like if you've got your frames set to, I don't know, unlimited or refresh of your monitor, like I set mine to 160 in game, and guaranteed it'll be like around about 160 all the time. Jump out the bus and it'll flicker down a little bit to like 120, 140, and then come back up again. That's what I mean, and that is the stuttering. It's not always entirely evident. You do have to kind of almost kind of disengage from the game to look at your frame rates. Other times you can feel it. It's, again, depends on the server you're connected to, the map, etc, etc. There's lots of variables in it. Senrab says, question, sorry Mike, you mean in Adrenaline I can set an overall limit regardless of game? Yes, in Adrenaline software you can go into, if you just do a search in the Adrenaline software, in the top there, you can put in, it's either global or frame or limit. I think limit you can put in, and there's basically a global frame rate limit. So you can just set it to a little bit less than what your monitor can do. And yeah, save energy, hopefully reduce stutters, because you're not trying to produce frames which basically cannot be processed or cannot be seen or used. So yeah. Gamer World says, yes, I do notice in Fortnite delay, stutter, etc. Yeah.
Senrab at 8908.
Senrab 908. Yeah, I'll just do that one.
Oh, cool. Sorry.
Hello, Greg M. How you doing? Letta says, the only game I play is GTA 5 online, and I'm getting an average of 170 FPS. Very nice. Yeah, ZG says there, I've been stuttering. I've seen stuttering only when my internet is going out. That's the thing, ultimately we are kind of at the mercy of our internet provider. And also the other people in your home, or whoever else is using your internet connection. Or possibly if you're on one of those systems where it's kind of shared throughout the street through a local box, then yeah, if there's lots of other people using the internet at the same time at peak hours, then that can disrupt your signal as well. Simrab says, previously set in game, but that's much better, Mike. No worries. Okay, right. The next part of the stream it's come about actually because of a problem that I had this week. So quite often I sell PCs. So I buy in parts, we get sent parts, etc. And what I'll do is when I've got enough parts, or if someone messages me, or someone who's bought a PC from us before, messages and says, have you got anything around? I'm looking for a PC for myself or for a friend or for family or whatever. And I generally can try to put together a deal. It's very, very rare that someone will message me and say, I want a computer, this is how much I want to spend, what can you do? And that I actually fail to do it. This week I did. And it was annoying because I actually sold a PC, the one which we built in the stream 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And literally, I think I listed it on Monday, or whenever it was, and it sold basically within about 6 hours. It went very quickly. It would have been almost a perfect spec for the other person who wanted the PC, but that is by the by. So they wanted a PC for around about £1,000, and they were basically playing World of Warcraft, which I know for a lot of people, that is one of those games which can run on kind of potato-like hardware. But one of the things about this is potentially they run it on a TV, a 4K TV. So it may well have to run at 4K. So that is where I kind of like, I had to look into it a bit more. Okay, what sort of graphics card do we need to run this, and CPU to run this at 4K at like a reasonable refresh rate, like 100 FPS or so. So I had, well, I don't have many parts here at the moment. Let's be completely honest here. I've got a few CPUs, I've got a couple of motherboards. RAM is very much not a great situation, as you would probably expect. And also storage. So M.2 storage, I am down to, woe is me, I've only got a couple of drives left, but they're like nice, expensive drives, which I'm not really using, but I want to keep for emergency purposes, or if one of mine fell on my system. Obviously, I've got to continue working, so I need to have drives, so I try to keep one on hand. So, I thought to myself, right, what can I put together quickly which will meet the brief and be £1,000? Now, I'm thinking £1,000 for a PC, like, we should be able to piss that out. That's a lot of money for a computer. But that is when I then got to the point of trying to price up a system. So my thought was, because I have it on hand, was an Intel 245K with a Z890 motherboard, which was probably one of my first mistakes, the motherboard. But the processor kind of makes sense. So I was working on the retail price of that 245K, which I think is about 140, maybe 150, something along those lines. Anyway, so that was the kind of like the basis for it. And I was thinking, well, graphics card, what can I put a graphics card? Well, I've got the Intel Arc B580. Surely that could be done in some way, shape or form. And I was going through pricing everything up, and I was going through PC Part Picker, as some of you do. And I got to the end, put all the bits in, and I'm thinking, this is not looking good at all, because prices are horrendous. Like, M.2 storage is off the chain right now. RAM is still completely fucked, basically, without putting too fine a point on it. Power supplies seem to be having a slight resurgence in pricing, which is never great. And motherboards aren't dropping much. So I think I put the system together with not really much real power to it that I could really say, like, yeah, this is a killer system. And I was at like £1,200. I was like, there's something definitely wrong here. I'm clearly doing something very wrong. Now, the motherboard that I had was priced in at like about £300, which is stupid. So I thought, right, let's take the motherboard out of the equation, put in like £150 board, and then we're still at like 1,100, 1,200 quid. I'm thinking, this is not right. There's something really wrong here. And I went through, and I've gone through PC Part Picker today again, with 3 different systems, one for AM4, one for AM5, and one for Intel, of kind of what I would consider to be kind of like a basic entry-level, decent-ish gaming computer. And I've got to say, I'm astounded at the prices. They are ridiculous. You don't get a lot for your money, especially if like £1,000 is your budget. And £1,000 is about double most people's budget for a gaming PC. Let's be fair. Like, when a parent wants to buy a PC for their kid, they normally kind of compare it with console pricing, so like 400 or 500 quid tops for a PC to play games, which, yeah, you can do, but from sort of hardware that you can buy off the shelves now, new, is impossible to do. It really is impossible. So what I thought we'd do is have a look at some of the prices that I've got and just get some of your input and see what you think, because it's not looking good for the PC market at all.
Right, before you start, Mark Gaines at 917.
Mark Gaines at 917. Mark Gaines, question, Mike, what is 0 RPM for? What is 0 RPM used for on AMD GPUs? 0 RPM just essentially means that the fans won't spin unless the GPU reaches a predefined target temperature, which is often like 50 or 60 degrees. I think you can possibly change it, but essentially it stops the fans spinning, which if your graphics card is kind of just idling along and you're on like Chrome tabs or doing emails or watching a movie or whatever, there's a strong chance that most modern graphics cards don't need their fans spinning. So if you're sensitive to noise or you're in a particularly dusty or dirty environment, then zero fan can actually prolong the life of your system, because you're not sucking in all that dust and throwing it through your system when you're just idling, which most of us are most of the time, to be fair. So yeah, I always have 0 RPM enabled. If you get a GPU which is problematic, then sometimes you want to turn it off just so the fans start spinning, and they are spinning all the time. It does increase the noise, but if you've got a particularly toasty GPU, it can be helpful, especially for like single fan cards, dual fan cards to some extent. If you've got a triple fan card, chances are you've got a massive heatsink on there, so you probably don't need the fan spinning. The actual bulk of the metal should do the job for you. But yeah, tweak it and see what happens. Hello, Firephone. Logan says, gotta go for those combo deals. Now the thing is, here in the UK, I'm assuming you're from the United States, because we don't really get combo deals here. We used to years ago from places like Logitech. Sorry, not Logitech, Novatech. Novatech used to be great. They used to do loads of bundle deals, but these days there's very few places that do. CCL have done in the past, but it's not a very common thing.
Raggy dolls?
Oh, Australia. Got you. Okay. Raggy Dolls, how you doing? Hello. Good evening to you. Currently laying up in hospital bed after not feeling too great, but have your channel to keep me occupied. Thanks for always making great videos. Thank you, Raggy Dolls, and hopefully you are feeling somewhat better soon. It's not good that you're in a hospital bed. I still have nightmares from... Kath knows exactly what I'm going to say next. I still have nightmares from back in the COVID era, when our good friend and compadre, Mr. Sky Stalker...
Oh God, no, I didn't know what you were
was we used to have like Discord chats on video after the streams, because we used to have a few beers and things used to get quite rowdy. And Sky was in hospital. I don't think he'll mind me saying this too much because it was a long time ago. But Sky was in hospital and they have to come around and do COVID tests every now and then on him to see if he was okay or not. And Sky, bless his heart, was on his laptop with his webcam on. So all of us in the Discord chat got a first-hand experience of how just mind-blowingly long the COVID test swabs were. I'm sure it must have been about that long. And I don't remember, all I remember is seeing this massive stick and it going and
Right
just
up
like
to the
fingernail,
fingertips.
just up to the fingertips.
Oh
And
my
like,
God.
where the hell's that gone? The poor man just had like a bloody lobotomy there. Jeez.
Christ, that was
Oh my days. I think all of us in the chat were just like completely speechless and just like completely dumbstruck. Like, did that just happen? It was insane. That was one of the highlights of the COVID era for me.
I think it traumatises you guys more than me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was awful.
Yeah, no, Sky was cool about it because I think he's added like, he had so many of them because he was in hospital for a while. So it's just like, yeah, just go and stick a bloody magic wand up my nose, that's fine. But we'd never seen that stuff because we were here in good old Blighty, so we were in lockdown situation, I think, possibly. So, yeah, we never saw it at all. Man, it must, seriously, it looked like the swab thing was about that long, like a foot or 30 centimetre ruler. And it just basically went right up his nose. And I was like,
We couldn't see the back of his head, Marty.
why didn't it come out the other end? Oh dear.
And then QT Bunny was asked a question.
QT, what time?
Gone. Got distracted there.
That's the one we answered.
Our used market not good there in UK.
Now the thing is, the used market here in the UK is a little bit broken at the moment because we've come to maybe this is the same in other regions as well. I'm not sure whether other regions would have caught up as well or not. So kind of let me just run with this a minute and see what you think.
Run, you.
Run, yeah, I'll be lucky. Crawl.
Sorry, I'm joking.
I tell you, my ass hurts today. And it's not because I've been going out through any dodgy woods or anything. Crawling around on the grass trying to do these bricks. All of my core and my ass and my thighs, any muscles that I've got which have not been used like for a while, absolutely ache. I woke up the day after and it felt like I'd had the flu, which I obviously haven't.
But we did say about the neighbours would be calling Greenpeace because we're both rolling around
Yeah.
the floor trying to get up.
Yeah, we were waiting for the Greenpeace people to come around and try and drag us back into the water because me and Kath were out on the lawn like two beached whales, just trying to get up, like, because we've been sat down for a while doing the bricks or like led on my side or whatever to try and get closer to the ground, and then trying to like hoik myself back up somehow, and then like failing is like rolling over. Jeez.
Brilliant.
It's a good job it was dry and sunny, because otherwise it would have been
Anyway,
horrible.
because I was in the same boat.
I was like a beached whale.
We both were.
It's not great. Anyway. So, the PC used market. So, obviously, most kind of people or normies, like people that aren't necessarily into tech or don't follow it quite religiously, like a lot of you do, like people that are in the stream, you're relatively tech focused, so you kind of got a really good inkling of what's going on, and you're aware of the state of play. Most normies have got no idea. So if they bought a PC maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, they would look at what they paid for that PC at that time and then kind of mentally extrapolate inflation and just say, right, okay, if I bought a PC and it was like 500 quid a couple of years ago, if I want another one similar to it, like but modern, it's probably going to cost me like another 100 quid on top of that. So maybe £600, £500, whatever. You get that mental extrapolation. But I was actually going through some of my PC part picker lists from the last few years, and like the ones which I did, like £600 gaming PC, if I click on that now, it's basically £850, £900, which is madness. It really is. So there is that kind of mentality that people don't want to spend a lot of money on a PC because it's not what they're used to. It's not their paradigm now, where it is for us. So there is that part of it. So that part of the market, there's a big disconnect between people that know what's going on and people that don't. So that's one part of it. The second part is, because there's not been any really tremendous innovation in the world of storage, RAM, graphics cards, motherboards, basically the whole shebang. There hasn't been any real big turning points where something has come out and it's like, I have to get that. That just hasn't happened for a long time. The Nvidia graphics cards, like a 3070 to a 4070 to a 5070 is kind of like, meh. It's a subtle jump, but it's a lot of money each time, like 500-600 quid. So it doesn't make a great deal of sense for a lot of people. So what we're seeing is the market is becoming quite stagnant. So we're seeing a lot of things like 5700s, that sort of stuff in terms of AMD cards, quite a lot of the 6000 series, but we're not seeing any of the 7000 series in the used market really. And obviously the 9000 series is new, so you don't really see those, and if you are, you're going to see them for almost what they cost, because what people bought them for and what they're worth now, etc, etc, you get a general idea. So that leaves us with the stagnation. So a lot of people have held on to their rigs because, like, if you've got like an AM4 X3D CPU, why bother upgrading to AM5? There's not really a great deal of point. So that has stagnated as well. So there's not many AM4 kind of used systems on the market really. And more in terms of graphics cards, like a year ago, picking up something like a 3060 12 gig or a 3070 would be great. And you pick them up for like 150 for the 12 gig 3060 and a little bit more for the 3070 or similar sort of money. But because there hasn't been that kind of, like, obviously when you went from 3060 to a 4060, it was basically pointless. It was actually somewhat of a regression, so not many people did. And then the 5060 came out, which was kind of basically a 3060 Ti again. So it was a kind of a bit of a pointless thing for a lot of people to upgrade. So people have held on to their graphics cards, which means that they've not then ended up in the used market as resale. So there's this big disconnect now for the last 2 generations of cards where they're just not really appearing on the used market with the frequency they did. And when there was like a bulk of them round about November, October of last year, just before everything went nuts, most of that stuff is now sold out. Like back then we were getting RX 6800s, which are a cracking card, 16 gig card. If you were quite lucky, you could pick one up for about 250, 240, 260, around that sort of price. Whereas now they're like £300 plus if you can find one, which makes it a little bit less of a useful thing to buy, because you've got the 9060, which isn't a much more and is obviously much more new. Maybe not as powerful, potentially, but newer and not much more money. So it's a really weird position. There aren't many graphics cards in the market. There obviously isn't any RAM in the market, and there's no real storage in the market other than it like crazy prices. So yeah, the used market is rubbish basically, and all the kind of the decent-ish stuff is gone or is running out. And because there's nothing coming in to replenish it on a regular basis, it's all getting a bit scarce. And of course, people have been shitting themselves because RAM is becoming very scarce, storage is becoming scarce. There have been people that have been kind of bulk buying as well, which has exacerbated the whole process. So yeah, it's just bad times at the moment. And you're getting to the point where it actually makes more sense to buy new, if you can, than it is to buy used. Because again, because the previous generations of chips like the AM4 stuff and the 30 series from Nvidia and the 6000 series from AMD, because they've been in the market that much longer and held on to by people because they've not seen the reason to upgrade, they've also got a lot more mileage on them. So previously, when money wasn't as constrained as it is now because of tariffs and cost of living and etc., like insert problem here, people were more tempted, and I know certain people like Welly Bob and Rasher, to name just a few, probably Skystalker, and no doubt many others of you. You would see a deal for a graphics card and think to yourself, yeah, I'll get that. You take out your old graphics card and just stick it in a cupboard somewhere for storage. And you think, I'll use that one day. But now that isn't happening. And those graphics cards which ended up in shelves or in cupboards, which eventually would have ended up in the used market or sold on to friends, family, etc., that isn't happening because the upgrade paths aren't happening either. So the whole market is basically what used to be kind of quite a nice flow and ebb to it, where a new generation of stuff would come out, people would latch onto it, they'd buy it, they would then take their old stuff, pass it on to friends, sell it on Discord, take it to CEX, put it on eBay, etc. It's just not happening. And because you can't buy RAM and storage now, that's making it even worse, because people are like, well, if I can't buy it, why upgrade? So again, people are holding onto their systems, putting more mileage on their parts, so when they do eventually sell them, they're going to be considerably more worn. So the used buyer is buying essentially what could be potentially a death trap, because it could fail very soon, or sooner than it would have previously. Does that make sense? Yes, Gaff.
926 Firephone.
926 Firephone. What's Firephone say? Mike, what used GPU for 100 GPP should I buy for 1080 light gaming? That's a tough one. I would... Yeah, that's a really difficult one, because what would have been my sort of go-to choice would have been something like a GTX 1070. But that really doesn't make sense now. So for £100, I would probably go for an RX 6600. You might get it a little bit cheaper than that. But in terms of driver support, it should have a little bit better. You might get a 20 series card, but maybe not. In the 30 class card, I would probably say the 3060 is the one to go for, the 3060 12 gig. But I think you're going to struggle to get one of those for £100. So, yeah, I think it's got to be the 6600. Or if you can, find one a 67 or 6650, maybe? Or 66 XT.
It's Dutch Jan at the end. Say,
Okay.
Answering yours or not?
Right, Dutch Jan. eBay Germany, RX 7700 XT, 62 pieces. Blimey. So someone's clearing out a load of stuff. But that's good. Is that just one person selling 62 graphics cards? Wow. Well, obviously some people are selling stuff, but not in the bulk that we were seeing. It has definitely dried up. Let's have a look through what people are saying.
In total, Mike.
I'm just seeing what my fans are still running on my PC. Oh, 67 in total? Oh, Christ. Sorry, I just noticed this one from Rasher. Rasher says, Aletta, recent studies show that 43% of women have used vibrators. From this, we can conclude that the other 57 are brought new. Oh dear, that's good. That is good. Raggy Dolls says, I picked up a GTX 1660 Super and 16 gigs of DDR4 Corsair Vengeance LPX 3000 RAM the other day from Facebook Marketplace for 80 quid. I think that's a win. Yeah, that's pretty good. 1660 Super is yeah, not a bad card. I'm not sure what the prices are, but I think you can get these for like 60-ish quid, so yeah, I think you've done really well.
You set Alexa off.
Oh, did I? Sorry about that. Right, anyway, let's have a look at my my PC part picker listing, because I've been saying that for a while now, and if I can minimize that a little bit and get it over to there, I can see the chat at the same time. And you can see your chat as well, which is fantastic. Right, let's go to Stream Desktop, and I can bore the bejesus out of you with these shitty prices. Right, we'll start off with the one which kind of kicked it off, which I thought this could be a thing, but it's not. So PC part picker, you get the general idea. You can go through and make listings of components, etc. So I thought, right, £1,000 is my budget. Let's see what we can do for £1,000. Sorry, I'm going to scroll down there so I can see what's going on there. So 7500F is basically the cheapest AM5 CPU that you can buy retail. At the moment on AliExpress, they're a little bit more expensive, waiting for a sale. So this is UK prices as of today's recording date. Cooler, went with something, you could probably shave a few quid off that, but Arctic Freezer 36, absolutely fine. Good CPU cooler, happy days. The motherboard, MSI B650 Gaming plus Wi-Fi, which is one which I haven't actually seen before, which, yeah, Gaming plus Wi-Fi. Have I seen that before? It looked familiar, but then all of a sudden it didn't. But yeah, I have seen that before. That makes sense now. Anyway, that is fine. So yeah, absolutely fine. The RAM is like barking mad pricing. So I ended up going with the ClevFit V or ClevFit 5, 32 gigs. 5600, but CL30, which I thought was reasonably good timings. So that's £329, which is absolutely mental. Like that would have been selling in October or November of last year, or maybe even like this time last year, would have been in the region of about 70 to 80 pounds, which is just absolutely hideous. Which kind of like, if you say that's 200 pounds more than it would normally be, that gives you an idea of how messed up this is. Then moving down to the Kingston MV3. Now the Kingston MV3 1TB drives, I know for a fact I've bought these before at £50 a pop. Now they are £130. So again, that is another £80 on the price. Which, when you're building a PC to like £1,000 budget, when you've already spunked basically an additional 300 quid or 350 quid on just your RAM and your storage, you know it's off to a bad start. Graphics card wise, because of what we'd spent elsewhere, like I haven't gone overboard on this at all. I don't think personally, I don't think I could have saved much money elsewhere. But like the case, a £45 case, which is pretty budget. The power supply, which I'm kind of okay with, but I would have liked better, but 40 quid for a silver rated 550 watt power supply, I would have preferred better, but price in. And also included Windows in there, premiumcdkeys.com/Mike's Unboxing. But look, the graphics card, the only thing I could get new with the budget I had left, and still broke it a little bit, was a Palette RTX 5050 8GB. Which in itself has been reduced considerably. Like, this is £200. And that's not a great card. Like, effectively, it's a 4060. Which, again, isn't a particularly powerful card. But it will be approximately similar to a 3070. So, those are around about 100 and something, nearly 200 quid used anyway. So, at least this has got DLSS 4.5 and all that kind of stuff, which may improve it a little bit. But still, 200 quid for what is regularly dismissed graphics card. And changing that doesn't really affect much. So we're looking at a total there of just over £1,022, which for that spec of PC is basically shit. I gotta say it. This is like rubbish. You could have done this spec of PC this time last year, 600 quid. With very few issues. Because you'd have saved about 30 quid on the CPU, because those are normally about 100. The Arctic freezers were about 16, 17 quid, so that's another 5 off there, so that's 40 off of there. Those were a little bit cheaper, maybe about the same, so we'll ignore that. But the RAM, obviously, and the storage, massive, massive increases. But we could have took 350 off of that easily, I think, this time last year. Which is nuts. Which would have made it like an acceptable price. And like 600, 650 quid for this level of PC, I would be pretty happy with. But for over £1,000, it's just, well, it's just nuts. Right, so with that in mind, I thought to myself, right, how much can we save if we actually go for an AM4 version of the same PC? And it doesn't look much better. It's still 900 and, well, almost £100 cheaper, which is bullshit. So it's basically the same parts, like the same cooler. The motherboard obviously is slightly different, but the same price pretty much. The RAM, 32 gigs of DDR4, which is now 200 quid. We've got the same storage, the same graphics card, the same case, the same power supply, the same everything. The processor, the 5700, is now £167, give or take, which is criminal. They were regularly like 100, 120 on AliExpress not long ago. So they've gone up because people wanting them. We've got the same CPU cooler. Arguably, you could ditch the cooler because that comes with a cooler already, like a stock one, but they're not great. So that could have saved you 20 quid. That takes it under £900, but not a lot. Yeah, the 5600X is a little bit cheaper, but it's not hugely cheaper at the moment. So if we do edit parts list and we ditch the CPU and we'll choose a CPU and we'll sort by price, and where are we? 5600X. So yeah, £144. So for an extra 2 cores and an extra 4 threads for an extra 20 quid, I think that probably is justifiable. Personally, I don't know. Let me know what you think. But even things like the Ryzen 3 3100, which is now at £121. How does that even happen? Like the Ryzen 5 5600 for 113, okay, maybe we could have done that instead. There isn't a massive amount of difference between the 5600 and the 5600X, really. So potentially you could have went with that. Yeah, actually, let's stick that in instead. 860. But I was trying to keep it so that it was roughly the same performance as the 7500F. So, yeah, you can see what we're dealing with here. This is just insane pricing. Like, this is AM4, which is effectively now a somewhat dead or dying platform. But yet the motherboards are still going for like the same price as they were when they were new. Almost. It's just absolutely barking. But I guess that's where we are. So if I go back now, and we'll go back. And I thought, let's have a look and see what happens if we go with the Intel. So the Intel 250K is considerably faster than the 7500F, but it's arguably the best entry-level Intel processor. And again, we're looking almost the same price as the AM5 on, again, what is technically a dying platform. So we've got the same sort of thing here. So the Core Ultra, 206, so we're spending a bit more, about an extra 30 odd pounds more. Same cooler. Motherboard, slightly different, a little bit more expensive, 126. Sorry, I'm getting pinged like mad. What's going on? Is the Discord broken?
I ain't got nothing.
No. Let's have a look there. Sorry. So the CPU, this is a much better CPU. Like, this is a real proper fast processor. Very, very nice CPU. So arguably for this money, you'd probably want to up the graphics card just to take advantage of it. But again, look at the pricing. £1,100 for this with a 5050. It's just absolutely bananas. And if we look at the graphics cards, like, let's do edit details. Oh, sorry, not that one. Brain's failing me now. Edit part list. So if we go to the graphics card, we'll get rid of the 5050 and we'll look at graphics cards. Choose a video card.
You look checking on comments.
I'm trying to. Mr. Gunner, what would be the AMD equivalent? The AMD equivalent of a 250K is probably going to be about a 7800X 3D. Maybe a 97, yeah, 9700 XT, sorry, 97X, 97, oh, Jesus, 9700X, 7800X 3D, similar to that sort of level. Right, graphics cards, let's have a look. What have we got in the sort of £200 mark? There's not a lot. Lots of this stuff is out of stock, as you can see. So when we get to £200, it's not great. Like, we've got things like the Arc B570, GTX 960, 6400 Radeons, 6500 XTs. Oh, I bought 2 of those. They're actually in stock. We've got the ASRock Challenger A750. Again, not great. Some really old nonsense here. And it doesn't get any better really for quite a while. Look at the types of graphics cards here. They are like, nothing jumps out and says, oh yeah, that's cool, I'd really like one of those. Like GeForce GT 730 for £210. What is the world smoking? It's not looking any better, is it? Look, you're just scrolling through like 3050s, 6600s. It's just, there's nothing good to come out of this at all. Like the 5050s are still here at like 250 odd pounds. We're going to have to take a significant jump in price to get something which is going to be a significant improvement. I think we're going to have to go to closer to 300. Like, got 4060s, again, it's not great. Where do we start getting into like sensible pricing? Well, the Zotac Gaming Solo, the 5060, like again, £270, you don't get a lot for your money. These are like not entirely great. 9060 XT, £275. It's still only an 8 gig card. For that sort of money, we should be getting into like 12 gigabytes at least. But it's just not happening. And I don't think we're going to see... We're not going to see anything really with a decent amount of RAM for a while yet. And we're going to end up over £300. So a used graphics card is probably the way forward. Like even that, like the ASRock Challenger Arc B580 there, it's still £300. You've got such a wider range of pricing.
A lot, isn't it, Oats?
Otis says there's a lot of money. He doesn't like it either.
Don't like it.
I'm just scrolling. There's just nothing's coming up.
Stop scrolling.
And we're over 350 now, and there's still nothing good. It's just, it's not great, is it? So, you get the general idea. It's shit. Now, Riley's got a question here. It says, question, how cheap can Mike make a Ryzen 7 9700X and Mobo and 32 gigs of RAM bundle, lightly used or new? When I looked on Part Picker, the price scared me. It will scare you. Because that is, the 32 gigs of RAM is going to cost you £330, realistically. The motherboard, you might get a deal for about 100, 120, but you might as well just buy a new one. And the 9700X is going to be, well, let's have a look actually. Let's start new. 9070X, 250 quid. Motherboard, if you're trying to get it done as cheap as possible, I guess you want to go ATX as well rather than micro ATX. So where would you see? So Eagle AX, I think would be my choice, either that or the Gaming Plus. Similar sort of price. If you need Wi-Fi, they both got it. So either or either. I'd probably go MSI personally. Or even Asus. Let's go for the Asus Tough. They're quite nice boards. Choose a memory. And we want 32 GBs. And sort by price. And everyone's out of stock until you get to about £300, which is a couple of pages in from memory. Oh no, it's 3 pages in now. I thought it was 2 pages in earlier. There we go. So that's a little bit on the slow side, but so CL46, not ideal. You want to ideally get like 36 if you can, but you don't really want to spend much more money on it if you can help it. Got the Kingston Fury Beast there. CL40, debatable. Crucial Pro, CL38, not great. This is probably the best value at the moment. The Silicon Power Zenith Gaming. That is DDR5 6000 and also CL30. So that's kind of nice. A little bit more expensive, but that is what I was looking at as well. Comparatively, what I chose earlier, the ClevFit Vive, that was similar, but that was 5600 for this, like a pound dearer. But yeah, either one, I'd say probably that. So how much is this little gem going to cost us? £700 for a motherboard, RAM, and a CPU. That is ridiculous. And oh, I just noticed he said MSI, so we'll choose a motherboard. To be honest with you, if it's MSI, let's see how much more we have to spend to get into something a little bit nicer, possibly something a little bit newer. Oh, ATX. So the thing is, if you're spending that sort of money, you might as well go for a better motherboard, really. So I would probably, well, the B850 Gaming Plus is a good shout, or the Gaming Pro Wi-Fi 6E, or maybe jump up to the Tomahawk. Saying that, the X870E Gaming Plus Wi-Fi for that much money sounds bloody marvellous. I think that must be incorrect. No, Amazon have got it in stock. That's a cracking board. Looks a bit weird, but that has got a lot of I/O on it. So yeah, I would be very tempted to do that. Under £200 for X870E is like awesome. But yeah, it depends what you're looking for, really. You could Gaming Plus Wi-Fi would be fine. £730. That's madness, isn't it? Absolute madness. Paul Lamont says, I have the one you reviewed from Scan for 10 quid less. Which one was that, Paul? Is that the B850 Gaming Plus? Oh, Tomahawk Wi-Fi. Yeah. Nice boards are Tomahawk Wi-Fis. Anyway, so you get the general idea of how screwed we actually are. Hello, I'm still here. Yeah, we are basically screwed at the moment. And DDR4 isn't incredibly cheaper than DDR5. And certainly AM4 motherboards, in terms of pricing, are very similar to the newer versions. There's not a lot on it. So I would, if someone was selling an AM4 system used and for sensible money, I would be very interested. Because then potentially you could make a little bit on it. But if you're buying new right now, then I think personally, you've got to go with the newer AM5. Like, you're going to get the longevity, or potentially, depending how desperate you are, maybe wait until the end of the year, because that's when we get the new Intel CPUs, and that is when things, I think, will finally get very interesting indeed. But who knows? Who knows? It's going to be some strange times coming ahead. And actually, talking of strange times, I've got to work out in my head. I've got a micro ATX PC case that I'm reviewing, or have kind of reviewed partially, but I want to do a build in it as well. And I know that micro ATX has always got that kind of stigma to it, that people think that you shouldn't be spending a lot of money on it. But at the moment, you've got to spend a lot of money regardless, because it's just how things are. So traditionally with a micro ATX case, I'd go cheap, 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 bare bones all the way, just to keep the price down. Cheap, cheap, cheap. But being that it's a nice case with none of the drawbacks that you normally associate with micro ATX, I'm thinking, do I do a nice build in it? And if so, I've got to think about what cooler I want to put in it. Because even though it's a micro ATX, it will still fit a 360mm AIO. But is it weird putting water cooling in a micro ATX case? I don't know if it is or not. I don't think it is, especially being the case has room for it and would probably set it off very nicely. And also, I'm deliberating about graphics cards, what graphics cards put in it, because it will support graphics cards up to, I think it was 400mm in length, and also offer excellent cooling above and below the graphics card, which is normally a problem for micro ATX cases. So yeah, it puts me in a dilemma what to actually put in this build. Thinking of what I've got on hand, I'm really troubled. Firestorm says, I love micro ATX. I didn't. I'll be honest with you, I generally don't like micro ATX as a form factor, because for me it's always, or 9 times out of 10, it's had things about it which have been problematic. Mostly due to it being compact. They won't fit a 360mm radiator in the top quite often, which for me then, if you're thinking like a 240mm AIO or even a 280, normally they don't quite have room for a 280, so you're stuck with a 240. If you're getting a 240, you might as well get a decent air cooler. The benefits of water cooling don't really properly kick in until you go 280 or 360 over traditional air coolers. So those are normally not applicable for micro ATX cases. And also the GPU problem, because micro ATX cases, because you've only normally on a micro ATX motherboard got, what, 3 PCI Express slots in total that are usable. So most decent graphics cards these days are a minimum of a 2-slot slim card, which would be expensive, or a 2.5 to 3 inch slot, which would be like mainstream, decent, big, chunky graphics cards. But if you put that into a traditional micro ATX case, you normally end up with either 1 slot available at the bottom for airflow, which quite often just isn't enough unless there's ventilation, and some people like to have a little bit of airflow going in towards the graphics card as well, which just generally isn't possible. But this new case actually gets around all of this. All of these problems just melt away into oblivion. So it's a really new paradigm for me to be thinking of a micro ATX build, but thinking like higher end components. So yeah, it's really baffling me at the moment what to put in it.
Classic words now.
What's that?
Baffling.
Baffling, yeah. Baffling, paradigms, there's all stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure, because I'm going to have to buy some stuff for it anyway to do the build. But as much as I didn't ever consider myself saying this, I am actually considering moving my video editing rig over to micro ATX, a smaller case. That just blows my mind that I'm even thinking that way. So yeah, it will fit my 9070 in there easily. And it will probably fit my 360mm rad in there as well. I can't believe I'm seriously considering going micro ATX. This is a very, very surreal and unusual experience for me. I'm outside of my comfort zone. I've always been ATX through and through, like almost from day one. Like, yeah, mini PCs have their appeal and their attraction, but for me, micro ATX has always been way too many compromises for not really much saving. Like micro ATX cases aren't often hugely cheaper than their ATX counterparts because of the economies of scale. If you can sell a lot more, you can generally get them cheaper. So ATX being the kind of the dominant size means that micro ATX is either the same price or similar, so you might as well just buy the bigger case. Yes?
Dave Aiken.
Dave Aiken. What time?
10:02.
Oh, 10:02. Mike, just saw a mud build out in the wild. Going well and looking sharp still. Excellent. So yeah, this is referring to what I was talking about earlier about the PC that I I couldn't get a PC to sell for one of my sort of more regular customers. So being the sort of nice, friendly chap I am, I kind of lined the path a little bit for Dave, because I knew Dave had a system, or most of a system, ready to go, which could help out my customer and could help out my friend, Dave. So yeah, hopefully he's benefited from that. Dave told me how much he wanted for the system as it was, and I told the guy a little bit more, just to give Dave a little bit of wiggle room. So hopefully he's come out of it, well, hopefully it's been a fortuitous event for everybody concerned, that Dave's made a bit on it, the guy's got a cheaper PC than what I could have done anyway, and everyone's good. Viali says, Mike, if you do, you'll be checking temps all day long. Yeah, that is a consideration. Normally I can audibly detect temperatures. I can tell by how my fans are behaving to what is actually going on with my system, at least in general. I just realised my live streaming tab, it was previously at 1.6 gigs. It's now gone down to 1.1. Maybe they've updated something. Dutch Jan. Dutch Jan says, question, which case, Mike? Don't tease us, then say nothing. I can't tell you anything about it. It is under embargo until the 30th of April, which is 5 days' time. So at 9 AM Eastern Central Time, or Eastern Standard Time, the video will be out. So 5 days-ish time. So what's that, Wednesday? Wednesday or Thursday, you'll know. You'll see the unboxing and my first impressions of the case. And I gotta say, like, honestly, coming from someone who doesn't like micro ATX, like, there are some micro ATX cases that I've reviewed which I've enjoyed, and I thought, yes, they work because of what they are and the price they are and what they're trying to achieve. But micro ATX for a mainstream build always seemed like just a little bit too far of a grasp for me. Yeah, so it's all good. I just heard my PC go again.
Yeah, it keeps on pinging, doesn't it?
It's pinging the bejesus at me. I tell you what I could do, without giving anything away, I could show you a similar case. Or, let's say, imagine if they made this case smaller. Am I going to get myself into trouble now?
No, I should just keep quiet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get myself into trouble. I'm actually looking at a very nice case on the screen here, which is very nice. Alexa says, tell us what the case is, Mike, and date the live stream for next Saturday. That's not a bad idea. David says, about the same time you'll see me kill my Thermaltake Tower 600 case, I'm replacing it with a real usable case. I'm really sorry that you didn't get on with the Tower 600. I like the Tower 600 for the design of it and the look, but I could never live day to day with the Tower case from Thermaltake. The whole rotated motherboard and the I/O at the top, it's just too much for me. I can't, yeah, not my thing. When I actually built in one, I had to put it like lead down and turn it around 90 degrees, so it was like the normal way round, because the muscle memory just didn't compute at all. But the Tower cases in general, I do actually like them. The look, the idea, the principle behind them. And I've done a couple of builds in some, like the Tower 350, was it? Or
the Roxette
250?
case.
The Roxette.
It's got the look.
It's got the look, yeah. I did a build in a few of them, and I have enjoyed them. And I really do genuinely like the look of them, but I couldn't live with it. let's go to, let's have a look at some of your chat a minute. Oh, no, that's the wrong screen. I didn't want that. So, Dave, is that what Dave? Oh, there's a super chat coming in from Rasher. Thank you, Rasher123. 20 euros there. Bless your particle physics. Particle physics gives me a hadron. I hope you don't get your large hadron collided tonight. Or Mrs. Rasher is going to be walking with a limp tomorrow. Kath's like disapproving.
She might have a second-hand vibrator.
Yeah.
That's just fun me when
Oh dear. Dave's, so I think, oh, this is the spec. So 7500F, B850 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi, 1TB 990 Pro, RM750 White, Corsair 5000X RX 5060 8GB, MSI 120 ARGB cooler, and no RAM for £710. That is pretty good. Yeah, because if you'd put the RAM in there, that's another 300. So round about roughly where we were earlier, but with a much nicer graphics card. So he did well there. I think you've probably undersold that.
do well.
Or you got some really good bargains. I know you got some bargains on the graphics card and the 990 Pro.
A bit of a Brucey bonus there, babe.
So yeah, not bad.
Didn't they do well?
Didn't they do well?
Take me back to Saturday nights.
Logan says, I'm thinking of getting the Lianli 217. I like where the panel inputs are. Yeah, that's a really nice case, actually. If they did that in Micro ATX, it'd be amazing. Like a lot of cases. I actually wanted the Thermaltake Series 500 to be done in Micro ATX, but properly. But they didn't. They just made it smaller and called it the Series 300 or 330 or 350. And it was still ATX, which was odd. David says, I have a Micro ATX motherboard and an ATX case for my second PC. Gives you extra room. It does. Dave says, I got the case for 20 quid from a flash deal. And the cooler was left over from a flash deal CCL bundle. Excellent. So, well, hopefully you've done well there. And hopefully Lucas was kind to you. And his bulldogs didn't try to eat you. Ashley Strachan, good evening. Sorry so late. Was having a burning all the crap in the garden session. Nice. David Under says the Lian Li 217 case is what I'm replacing the Tower 600 with. I am putting the B550 in the TT case and selling it off cheap. Fair dues. Let's have a look at the Lian Li 217. A lot of people seem to be interested in that. So, this is the Lancool 217. This is the INF version, or Infinity. So this has the really nice Infinity look around the side, and also you've got two 170mm fans on here. And also there's like a grill, you can remove the grill quite easily. I kind of like the contrast between the grill and the mirror. I think that's quite a nice look. And also where the I/O is on the side. Quite nice and easy to reach. And vents along the side, I believe. I'm not sure about it in white. I think when it's in white, the mirror kind of makes it look a little bit goofy. But let me know what you think. I prefer the black. I think that looks very stylish. Lian Li do have a certain knack about making cases. I do like that. Yeah, I think that mirror, if there was a white reflection in the mirror, I think it wouldn't look so goofy, but it just looks way too contrasty. That looks sick. Oh, I said that word again. Why did I say that? I hate it when I say that. Dutch Jan says, question, if one of those 170mm fans break, where do you get a new one? Now that is a very good question. Now Lianli have said that at some point they will be doing 170mm fans, and I think they have some available at the moment. Whether or not they have these exact infinity ones, I don't know. Not sure. But yeah, I do like the look of that. See, actually there, in the white version, with a white reflection, that looks really nice. It looks silver, like aluminium. That's pretty cool. Loads of room in the back for loads of drives and loads of things, loads of pass-throughs, etc. I think that'll take up to extended ATX as well, with the extra pass-throughs. That's kind of useful for some people. Built-in fan hub as well. Which, if I remember, I got a sneaking suspicion, I think this fan hub can also support wireless mode as well. So you can use the Lianli L-Connect 3 software, or you can plug it into your motherboard. Yeah, it was nice. I've actually got my PC currently is in the, is it the 20, oh God, I don't want to see that. Go away. I think mine is in the 207, not the 217. So I'm in the 207, yeah, 207 digital I'm in. I was in the Vector V100 prior, but that's what I'm using at the moment. Which really, I think I would have preferred the 206. I like the 206. But the 207 is pretty cool. And now I've put the RGB fans in there. It's yeah, it's a pretty nice look. I do like the RGB fans. But yeah, the 206 I think for me and the 216 are some of my favourite cases. I've also got a Lancool 3 in white. That thing is an absolute huge beast. I quite like the 217 actually in white. With a wood trim. That's kind of nice. Anyway. Let's go back to your chat and see what you're saying. Ordinary Dude, how you doing, Ordinary Dude? What are you doing? Oh, Steve says, only way to stop this crazy pricing is to refuse to pay it and use the old stuff. Yeah, I think you're probably onto something there. Ordinary Dude says, I got the Sama IM01 Pro a while back and it's fantastic UATX, but it seems to have disappeared from the US market. Can't find it anywhere. Yeah, Sama was one of those companies which, like, they appeared over here very briefly and then kind of just disappeared. And they're quite hard to get here now. Aletta says it looks like an old Cooler Master H500. Yeah, it has got a bit of that to it, hasn't it? Yeah. Sorry, Kathy, you want to say something then? No. John says, I like the dark one. Stephen says, I always loved Lianli. They do make nice cases. David Under says the Lianli in black is $100 cheaper, Aussie dollars that'll be, cheaper than that TT600 crap case. I feel really bad that I may have been partially responsible for that purchase. Zero Defect says it looks rad. Radical, man. The front fans can be replaced with 160mm. Yes. Firestorm says you can get the Antec Flux M best micro ATX case at the moment, in my opinion, with 6 fans for 50 quid. I haven't seen that. Let's have a look. Antec Flux M. I quite like the Flux but I've not seen the Flux M. Ah, sorry, yeah, that is a fish tank style. I for some reason I thought it was going to be like the full size Flux version. 50 quid.
Fuck's sake.
Is it the Flux M? What is going on? I'll show you what I can see. So that is the Flux M. Yeah, that's not too bad. For a Micro ATX, that's alright. Not entirely sure about all this going on here. I suppose that's where the power supply goes and things like that. Yeah, it must be. Power supply store. Oh yeah, power supply is... Oh, hang on. Yeah, power supplies. See, that is the one thing I don't like about that style of case. I do like it in that layout, or that look, but like the power supply section there just looks a bit goofy. Kind of, it takes away the whole kind of flow. But yeah, it's not bad. Not my cup of tea necessarily, but yeah, it's not bad. And for the money, 50 quid, can't go too far wrong, can you? Something. David, I think some men do. Rasher, do PC cases still come with 3.5-inch caddies? If they do, it's a waste of material and money. Yeah, it is becoming less fashionable to have caddies now. Normally they try to kind of wangle it into the case design, normally through like little cutouts on the bottom of the case, so you can put some like rubber grommets onto a drive and just kind of put it in and latch it into place. Dave Under says, I even bought the useless 3.5 LCD display for $170. Only works half the time. So I've been very blessed with my LCD displays from Thermaltake. They have worked impeccably, and I would say arguably better than the Thermalright one that I had, which was very problematic from time to time. There are lots of firmware updates happening for Thermaltake at the moment for a lot of the screens, so to allow them to do different things and to work with different software. So yeah, but still, sorry that you've been experiencing problems with yours. John says, Lian Li Dan A3 is nice, Mike. That's the Micro X case I went for. Lian Li Dan A3. I'm trying to picture that as well. Paste. Ah, yes, I see. Yeah, that's the A3. Yeah, that's quite nice as well. That has got a similar sort of layout, hasn't it? Where the power supply is in that sort of what I consider to be a slightly goofy place, but it's very common for that. Well, I had a case which was very similar to that.
Word you keep saying every few minutes.
Goofy.
You've said that like 20 times.
I know. I don't know where I get that from. It's just, it came to me. I got you. Mr. Gunner River, where are the update for Thermaltake? So if you go to the Thermaltake US website, or the UK one, and go to the download section, you can go through and there's a bunch of firmware. Actually, I could show you, couldn't I? That'd probably be easier, wouldn't it? Because I am waiting for the update for, because in there I've got the MagFlow Ultra, and I'm waiting for the update for that so I can use the TT monitor software rather than using RGB+. Let's have a look, see if I can find Thermaltake downloads. Thermaltake.com/downloads is the website of choice. Which Thermaltake websites always seems to take ages to load. Don't know why. Those are goofy. I'll try the UK one as well. Thermaltake UK downloads. Which one's going to load first? Oh, the site can't be reached. Thermaltake.com downloads. Bastards. Yeah, they actually they might be updating the bits which should be updated because like I said, the firmwares are coming out. So maybe we've just come at a very inappropriate time. Actually, if I copy and paste that put it in the chat, see if anyone else is getting the same problem that it cannot be reached. Why did that just copy that? Ah, right, the UK site is working, the American one isn't, so the American one might be updating. So if I give you the copy and paste for that. So Thermaltake, uk.thermaltake.com/downloads, and I'll show you on the stream desktop. So if you go to, you've got the RGB Plus software, that's the old version, 2.0. Actually, yeah, where's 3.0? What's going on there? So yeah, that should be RGB 3. Maybe they've taken it down for some reason. Oh no, there's version 3 there. Okay. So, optimized playback performance for the MagFlow Ultra. Nice. I should probably update that then. Because I'm on version 3006. But yeah, if you go down towards the bottom, you should find, after a while, so there are the updates. So the 6-inch LCD screen kit firmware, that's updated. The Minecube Ultra as well, that's updated. And the THV3 Ultra. So not covered all of them yet, but they are in the process. So if you then want to ditch TT RGB software, you can use the TT LCD screen software instead. So that's been updated recently. So yeah, Minecube Ultra. I wish they would do it so if you install TT LCD screen, it would automatically update your screen. But yeah, there's other segment LCDs, but that's where to look. So those should be coming very shortly. I'm guessing it's on the US site and it'll just take a while to propagate down through. But yeah, it just means if you don't want to use TT RGB Plus, which some people don't, you can use the TT, where is it? The, God's sake, TT LCD screen, which is actually quite a nice bit of software and gives you some nicer features. Dutch Jan says opens fine. Oh, okay, let's try that again then. Yeah, Thermaltake downloads. Come on, load in. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen, is it? That's gonna time out. Yeah, site can be reached. What is going on? Very strange. Anyway, there you go. So that is, I'm gonna have some nugget. Sorry, Kath. This stuff is amazing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've mentioned it before.
Mm.
That's what you're going to say.
I do like almonds. Rashid Air saying, I know everything there is to know about Windows. I've been in the business for over 40 years. Unfortunately, it's the glass type, not the tech one. I fit double glazing. He does. I wish you'd come over to the UK and fit some double glazing here. Mr. Gunner says, thanks. They're fun to play with, different images. Yeah, they can be. Cool stuff. Right, I think we have pretty much exhausted the conversation for tonight. So if there's any last minute things you'd like to discuss, maybe you got the new you've got the new framework stuff out, which it's kind of interesting, but it's hella expensive. So I was considering bringing it up as a discussion topic, but I know that framework stuff is very, very, very niche, because not everybody wants to pay a lot of extra money to be able to easily upgrade when upgrade time comes around, especially when potentially some of the upgrades might be as costly as just buying another cheaper non-upgradable disposable unit. So it's a very weird situation that Framework, and obviously Linus Tech Tips being one of the financial Kath's doing that in the background about Linus. That's very rude.
I didn't do that.
What? Oh, you wanted a microphone? That's what it was. So yeah, I think it's a very strange situation. I personally would quite like a Framework laptop myself, because I do generally tend to keep that sort of thing, or would like to keep it for a longer time. I've had 3 or 4 laptops of the last 10 years, I suppose, where I would have loved to have been able to have just swapped out the motherboard and processor and RAM possibly and continued using it. But due to the traditional way of making a laptop, that isn't always feasible. So I do have to commend and appreciate what Framework are trying to achieve. I just don't know if there is enough of a market for it or enough of a thirst for it. I know at the moment that the Framework brand is kind of, it's trendy in tech circles. So there are going to be people that will buy it just to be like that person. Like, yes, I've got a Framework laptop like other content creators have got. There is very much an element of that as that it's kind of uniqueness. Not many people have got them, so to have one is a little bit of a different thing, and having all the options to configure it kind of within reason exactly how you want, I think is a pretty cool idea. But again, at what price? I do struggle with that notion of how much it actually all costs. But yeah, I don't know. Rasher said Linus is grey AF. There, I said it. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's got any thoughts on it. I think personally it's just too expensive really to justify. Like, if I was going to buy if it was like a special birthday or something and I wanted to treat myself, then I might consider one. But
your birthday's in like 2 weeks.
A special birthday.
It's always special.
Always a special birthday. Yeah, our birthdays are coming up very soon. Another year older.
Mine's next week.
Yeah, Kath's birthday is next week. Bless her.
Yours is 3 days later.
Mine is 3 days later. Yeah, funny enough.
So it's not quite next week.
Yeah, it's an unusual thing. I have considered it in the past previously, thinking I might get a Framework laptop, but then when I go in and actually spec it up to the price or to the spec that I actually want, I do find it being extraordinarily expensive. More money than I would spend on a very nice gaming PC rather than what is effectively a supercharged netbook. So yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one. LTT is getting a bit crazy. First a fire truck, now an airplane. Yeah, Linus is going for his midlife crisis in a big way, isn't he? Private jet, fire truck. Whatever next.
Going for it a bit late, isn't he?
I don't know. How old is he? Is he 40 yet?
He's got to be older than that.
How old is Linus? Someone let me know. How old is Linus Tech Tips? Is he 40 yet?
He's got to be older than that.
I would have thought he is older than 40, but I don't know. I have no idea. Steve says, I can't blame him for enjoying his money. He has spent years building his company. This is true. Now, in the context of someone enjoying or reaping what they sow, I have absolutely no problem with that at all. Where I do have a little bit of criticism of that kind of level of spunking money is that he has always said that he's against that sort of thing. Like saying that he always flies kind of cheap seats. He even called out other people for using private jets in the past. So then to actually go ahead and do one and get one for a tech channel does seem a little bit disingenuous. Now, he might have got a fantastic deal on it. He would have had to, because those things ain't cheap and they're not cheap to run. So that gives you some idea of how much money he is making to be able to afford that at all. So yeah, he's clearly doing something right and he is reaping his rewards. But if you're a public figure, like possibly one of the top, if not the top tech YouTuber, and you've said things previously which people can find and repeat, and then you go and do those said things, it does make you look a little bit disingenuous. Now, I know people change and people's ideas change and, yeah, their outlook on life changes. And none of us are getting any younger, so enjoy it while you can, exactly. But, again, you have to go back to the thing of, if you say something, then you go and do something which you said you wouldn't do, and you do it, you kind of have to expect a little bit of a backlash. I think that's fair to say. Chen, hi Mike and friends, video suggestions on new PC build for 2026, best on budget. No, it's not going to happen. In fact, if you look at the stream from earlier, we compared the 3 different PC builds, Intel, AM4 and AM5, all around about the sort of 850 to £1,200 range. And that is a budget PC at the moment, with RAM and storage prices as they are. If you take out of the RAM and take out the storage, you can take £500 off those prices. So that is how much extra those items cost at present. So like £500 is what people want to spend on a budget PC. Whereas now that gets you just RAM and storage. You don't have anything else. So yeah, it's a thing. Mr. Gunnerer says, so no plane for you, Mike. If I had the money, I would quite happily have a private jet. I don't think I would need one. Because I don't,
that far.
Yeah, literally the shops are 5 minutes away and they don't have a helipad either. So even a helicopter is probably out of the question. And also I do get pissed off when Dyson flies over in his helicopter, because our house is in the flight path for where Sir James Dyson lives in the UK to get to the airport.
So he goes in his helicopter to the airport
Yeah.
on his private plane.
He takes his private helicopter from his house to the airport to take his private jet to Malaysia to his other house.
And he does all this eco-friendly products for us.
Living the dream. Paul says, might this be why staff left him? Yeah, I think to some extent. There's always going to be that thing of like, when you start off any business, no matter who you are, whatever business it is, when you start off a business, when you're smaller and you're growing, there's a sense of camaraderie or that, you know, like we're all in this together. And you do get with every company, pretty much always, there comes a time where the company growth, people then find the divide start happening. It happened with Apple all those years ago, like in the late 70s, early 80s, when Apple became a massive company. Like obviously they started out allegedly in a shed or garage building these Apples, and then the Apple II, etc. And then kind of Steve went off and became the businessman, and everyone else was kind of pretty much cast aside, more or less. Whereas they were all in it together to begin with. So it does happen in a lot of companies, especially obviously ones that make a lot of money or a lot of income. And yeah, even if you work for a company which generates a lot of money, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will inherit that wealth yourself, because you are working for somebody. And no one ever got rich working for somebody else unless they stole.
They don't
Or
get rich working for themselves
It's
either,
very
do you?
rare.
Really.
Mm.
If you're paying your taxes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the way. And Linus has done the same thing. Like obviously he started off, him, Luke, the editor, and or the camera guy. Then they moved on, had the house. Then they moved to the new studio, then the bigger studio, etc. And they grew and grew and grew. And obviously they've got over 100 members of staff now. So it's a quite a big concern. And yeah, he's just got to the point where he has basically Steve Jobs'd himself. So he has become the kind of the head of a big company. And yeah, lots of money, lots of wealth. And unfortunately, he can't take everyone along for the ride. Possibly Luke gets a decent whack. Maybe not. I think he's got shares and stock options and like part ownerships of things to keep things a little bit better. But everyone else, as far as I'm aware from Linus Tech Tips and that Linus Media Group, get essentially what is a reasonable salary for living in that area and doing the type of work they do. I don't think they get any kind of commission or performance related pay or anything like that. But there's other things that can come out of it. So they can use that as a platform to leapfrog into their own individual space, much like some of the others have done already, and will probably be quite profitable and will probably end up going down the same route as Linus eventually if they choose to expand that quickly or their channels get that big. It is unfortunately the nature of things. Mr. Gunner says, thanks for the fast boot time video the other day. Worked for me. That was good. Yeah, that video was very, very popular. Very popular. One of the most popular videos we've done in a long time, actually. Weirdly. Who'd have thought making your PC boot faster would be that much of an interest to people? Clearly, I'm looking at YouTube completely the wrong way. Anyway, we'll see. Lester says, I want a helicopter. No, you want to be helicoptered. There's a difference.
Letter.
Crypto, yeah, Crypto gets it. Viali says Dyson cleaner are rubbish. I've had a few good ones, but I've had some bad ones as well, or poor ones. And I got to the point where I was buying used ones off eBay on quite a regular basis and getting them working, or just fix them because they were quite easy to fix. Kind of miss that actually.
Never do that.
Hmm?
Need a new one.
Yeah, I might do that. Might have a look on eBay and get another Dyson. The one I got at the moment is the ball one, and it's hideous because the ball.
I'm probably doing your fucking wrist in.
Yeah, it's just really big, bulky, and the wire always gets trapped underneath the little fold-out legs, which is such a stupid design. Thanks, Dyson. Next time he flies over, I'm going to shout at it.
Jimmy.
Yeah. Unless it says, if you become the head of a huge company, you deserve your perks. You do, 100%. If you're the head, the target of a big company, you certainly do deserve your perks, but you do have to also take into consideration the public perception of you taking those perks, especially if you're not taking the rest of your staff with you, like showing them the love. That has got to be quite a bitter pill to swallow. And I imagine Luke's a pretty decent guy, at least he comes across as it. He doesn't appear to be particularly financially motivated. That wouldn't appear to be one of his traits. But for him and Linus to have started that channel together, and for Linus to be kind of private jet territory with multiple houses, and Luke possibly not having a house of his own even. I don't know if he has.
I think he has.
He may do. I don't know.
Kids and stuff, haven't they?
No,
Pretty good.
don't think so. So yeah, yeah, that's always a tough break very much like Breaking Bad, when Walter helped start a company and the two company other partners then took it off to stratospheric heights, and he decided he was going to start cooking meth to keep up with the Joneses. So there you go, Luke. If things get bad and you need some more cash, then there's always meth.
Actually, it was messed up.
Rasher says I paid 560 euros for my Dyson Animal cordless. Not impressed at all.
We were impressed with the first one, and after that they all
Yeah.
went downhill, to be fair.
Our DCO, we had the DCO 1, the first one that came out, and that was like a game changer. That was in what, 1999, 98, something like that?
99.
99. I think they came out a bit before that, didn't they?
Oh, maybe we did get it in 98, but it was just before George went and we had that new carpet fitted.
Yeah.
A week after George was born.
DCO 1, cracking. That was great. DCO 4, DCO 7, DCO 7 Animal. Few of the Animal ones we've had over the years. I don't know what we got
And
now.
none of our animals like them.
Yeah.
Don't mind the corner, it's got no guts.
Rasher says, Sky says, Luke isn't married, girlfriend, no family, he owns his own place. Thank you. Luke is CEO of Floatplane. Yeah, but like being the CEO of Floatplane and being the CEO of a company that has its private aeroplane, big difference. Like, how many people realistically use Floatplane? I'd imagine it's an extremely small amount of people. It's enough to keep it going, but I don't, well, it can't be doing that well, or maybe it is, but they don't ever seem to push it, other than saying, like, on a video, oh, if you want to see the too saucy for YouTube bits, go to floatplane.gg.
How much does that cost?
So, I don't know. I think you have to subscribe to each individual
Oh, yeah,
person.
You, that. You have to pay for each one, don't you?
But yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have a Floatplane membership in the chat? And actually, if you're watching this video after, exactly. If you're watching this as a video on demand after the stream, let me know in the comments below. Have you ever, or are you currently, a Floatplane member?
And how much is it?
And how much is it? And what's the deal?
Yeah.
Dutch Jan says 1041.
Gentle bad boy. I do that Dyson thing, but with secret lab chairs.
I was trying 1041.
Who are you talking to? You?
Dave Under says thanks for sharing your video. Ah yes, I remember. Yes, thank you for sharing the video. That was appreciated. Thank you. I didn't see that. Dutch Jam, what do you think about the EU rules for easy replacement of phone batteries? I think it's a great idea. We're not in the EU, so it doesn't affect us, but it probably will do. I think it's, yeah, easy replacement of phone batteries makes an awful lot of sense. I'm pretty sure with my iPhone XR, it was coming up to the point where the battery was getting a little bit worse. It wasn't terrible, but it still works. CAFs are still going.
1047.
What's the battery health on it at the moment? 75%? I think mine was about 70.
Where'd you get that in settings?
Yeah, settings, then battery health.
I never look because I haven't got better.
The thing is in battery.
Settings, what?
Battery, then battery health, I think.
Battery.
Somebody else had a question then, I didn't see it then.
What does it need to know, all this? Last charge to 100% at 18:23. Last 24 hours. Last 10 days.
Semrab, Floatplane is basically Linus's attempt at making his own YouTube. But it's called Floatplane. But it's, as far as I'm aware, it's subscription only. Skystalker has a Floatplane membership. There you go, we got one. We got one!
Where does it tell you how? It doesn't tell you, it just tells you all this stuff about when you charged it.
Battery health down the bottom, I think. Not in settings. Battery battery health and charging. There we go. Oh yeah, yours is down to 65%. So that would be an ideal candidate for a new battery. So yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, but would it? Because you can't probably get apps or anything to work on it anymore.
Oh no, yeah.
Like anything new or updated.
A rally, what the effing hell is float plane? Yes. Float plane is basically a closed circuit YouTube, effectively. And they were, years ago, they were offering or asking content creators would they like to join float plane. Sky says it's similar to YouTube, some are free, most aren't.
39,201 subscribers.
Who has? What, float plane?
Apparently.
So 39,000, that's pretty good considering, like, he's got, what, 15 million subscribers on YouTube. So what's that as percentage? Not sure. It's reasonable.
If it's not free, it's not for me. I agree, a letter.
Yeah. Sam Raptor says, thanks Mike, honestly not watched him for years, I had no clue. Gentleman Bad Boy says Ghostbusters reference. Well spotted. Dutch Jan says float plane accounts for 7.2% of their revenue with 39,201 subscribers. So I think the minimum cost per month per channel, I think is £5 or $5, whether that's Canadian or whatever, no idea. So 40,000, wrap it up. So 40,000 times 5 is, I'll let you do the math. So yeah, I don't know. So some would subscribe to more than one channel. 7.2% of their revenue seems high. Because you've got to think, they've got to pay creators as well to actually be on there.
Do they? So you could get on there and they'd pay you?
No, but they must pay you in some way, shape or form. Because out of the subscription, if you subscribe to a channel, they must take a cut of that. And you get what? So if it's like, if it's $5,
So, yeah, you would get paid for being on
they
there.
keep $1 and you keep $4, sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. So it's like YouTube sort of thing.
Yeah.
As in, the money's nice.
Float plane is often used for in-house training video seminars and tutorials. That's interesting. Okay. Oh yeah, Sky says, yeah, $5 a month. I am a founding member and I get it for $3 a month for lifetime unless I let it lapse. That's pretty cool. Got to spend the money somehow. And speaking of that, on that bombshell, I think we've pretty much exhausted the conversation, but much appreciated for all of you for stopping by. I know it's been a very lovely day here in the UK, so if you've been out enjoying yourselves, having a pint or two, or relaxing with the family in the garden, and you're catching up, then hello, and thanks for watching later on. For those of you that have joined us tonight live, massive shout out to you, and for those that have helped financially support us, muchas gracias, much appreciated. And also thank you to everyone who just comes along and hangs out with us on a Saturday evening when it's not very structured or anything, so thank you all very much. And for those of you that watch the videos, click the like button, subscribe, share them, whatever. It's awesome. We massively appreciate everything you do. But I think that is gonna be it for tonight's stream. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and don't forget, we'll see you with a new fresh video on Monday morning. And also don't forget to keep an eye out for the video on the 30th with the Micro ATX case. I think you're going to be impressed, surprised, and I think you're going to like it. I didn't think I would, but I do. So yeah, you have to let me know in next week's stream how you feel, or just watch the video and leave a comment, because we do reply to all our comments, as you know. because we're just that kind of person. Thanks all for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. I had to think about it then. You can tell it's been a long day. Take care, everyone. See you later. Bye.